Welcome back to Fresh Health. I'm here in the kitchen, and today we're going to be making a very simple but delicious baked apple recipe. So if you're on a cleanse and you're not supposed to have any added sugars, but you can still have apples, or you're just looking for a nice little dessert or treat, these apples are easy, quick, and delicious. So the first thing we do is we start with our apples, and we want to pick, usually I like the Gala apples, work really well, but pick your favorite apple, and we want to cut them in half, like I have them here, and take the middle out of them. And especially leave a bit of a deeper middle in them, because we're going to be filling the middle of these with some pecans. If you don't like pecans, you could definitely use any kind of nut that you want to use. So you could use almonds, you could use cashews, or you don't have to add nuts if you don't want to. You could add raisins, you could add coconut if you'd like, whatever fillings you want to add to these baked apples. So completely up to you. So we have our batch here. I usually like to make about 10 or 15 of them. And then the next step, super easy. I like to add a good amount of cinnamon. So I really like to use local cinnamon, and everything that you see here today is coming from Spud. So you can order online from them and check them out to get all of these delicious ingredients to make your own baked apples. So like I said, I like to put a pretty generous amount on my apples because I love cinnamon. You can always put a bit less if you like. I find it just really brings out more of a nice flavor when these are baking away in the oven. You can also set your oven and preheat it to about 350 degrees if you like, and then we'll talk about how long we put them in after. So the next thing we're gonna add is 3 tablespoons of lucuma powder. So this is a natural sweetener with a caramel maple flavor. I like to add this in with about 3 or 4 tablespoons of coconut oil that has been melted. Usually in a pot, I'll melt it. And then I mix them together and give it a really good stir. And this is kind of like the caramel that melts and makes a really gooey texture, which is really nice when this is baking in the oven, and the juices of the apple and the cinnamon, plus the coconut oil and the lucuma powder all bakes together. And then when you bring them out of the oven and they cool a little bit, you have this kind of caramel texture, almost like what's on top of a cinnamon bun. So it is really nice. So we want to just add a little bit to the top of all of the apples. It just helps the pecans stick a little bit more, I find. And again, who doesn't love this kind of creamy caramel-like stuff? And again, this is great because it's dairy-free, it's gluten-free, there's no sugar added except for that little bit of lucuma powder. And again, if you're unsure of where to get that lucuma powder, you can order it from Spud. Also, the Light Cellar is a great place to get it as well here in the city. So we're gonna add our pecans. I like to add a generous amount again because I'm a big fan, but feel free to add as much or as little as you like. I usually like to either get the pieces of pecans, or if I get whole pecans, I'll just break them up, and I usually add at least a half a cup to this recipe for people that are wanting to know measurements. I like to add pecans because you're getting a bit of good fat and more fiber, and they do add a really nice flavor to this recipe. It smells good. All right, so we'll finish putting these on here. Sprinkle them on. And then what we do is we add the rest of the coconut oil caramel mixture on top. So drizzle that on. Smells delicious. And again, this you could use, or you could eat this as a snack. You could have this with your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner. This could be dessert. If you're craving sugar or something sweet, this is a great alternative again because it's not gonna spike your blood sugar like a candy or a sweet treat with a lot of refined sugar in it. And most people love anything with apples and cinnamon. It really actually reminds me of an apple crisp without the oats. So what I normally do once I've put my first layer on is I just go again with any leftover. It doesn't matter if it spills off because you can always take a spoon and get that caramel, like coconut caramel, off of the pan. So now all we have left to do is to put this in the oven for about 35 to 40 minutes until the apples are soft, and then we'll pull them out and then you can serve them however you like. So we've just pulled our baked apples out of the oven. They were in for about 35 minutes on 350 degrees Fahrenheit. They smell amazing, they look amazing. So all we have left to do is to let them cool a little bit and serve one up on a plate. And they're falling apart because they're just cooked to perfection. So there we go, baked apple. Feel free to serve that with a bit of coconut cream or a bit of coconut milk ice cream, and enjoy. We'll see you next time.